Yeah, hello guys. We are live. Hmm. Um,
Hi everyone. Is it working? Can you hear me?
yeah, I think we're live on YouTube. I don't know if we're live on LinkedIn,
Let me
but yeah,
confirm. I don't see anything on my LinkedIn profile.
yeah, same here. I can. Oh, I see on my LinkedIn profile actually. Crazy.
Oh yeah, I see though. I see on yours, but I can't see on mine.
Yeah, we have to like figure out like what's wrong actually. But it's crazy. Anyways, we're
Nice.
live, guys. And in we decided to like create this live stream to talk about one major question people ask us every time: should you still learn to code in 2026? And we just want to like share our thoughts. Like it's just a random conversation, and we thought to like share it live and just make it stay on the internet. Yeah, so I'm going to put this question to Elijah, and he too can put questions to me. But what do you think like about the whole idea of coding this 2026 and beyond, considering AI, what is doing, like is AI making the whole concept of learning how to code pointless? And because if AI can actually like write code in seconds, so should you still spend years learning to code? I think there was a day we were talking about the whole previous day when you want to learn JavaScript, you go and watch those 12 hours videos on Free Code Camp, on Traversing Media. I think we're interacting with agent skills and we're like before would have had to like watch a crash course. But like now
Before we
we are
can understand. Yeah.
but I think now we are like even talking about a beginner, someone who is a beginner, like should they still learn to code or like what should happen?
That's an interesting question. Should a beginner still learn to code? Okay. Yeah, let me start by saying this. With the way the whole AI race is going now, in the next, so this is me making a prediction, right? In the next, say, 5 to 10 years, I mean, it's happening already, but like AI will be writing 100% of codes that you get. But should you as a beginner now stop like, okay, because AI is going to write all codes, should I not learn again? I don't think so. I don't think so. Because I feel like there's still going to be um, the human touch needed. Okay, so maybe say humans would need to do like reviewing the code now, but there's still going to be like the human touch needed, right? Even with say AI writing 100% of the code. So one thing that I think a beginner can do in 2026, if you're a beginner and you're interested in tech, right? So everything has changed. You don't have to say, oh, I have to say you want to learn web development, for example. You don't have to say, oh, I have to master HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React, Next.js, Vue.js, and all of those fancy frameworks, right? So all of that does not need to happen again. I think my advice now would be a beginner should master like the fundamentals, right? So what does that mean? Um, say, okay, let me continue with the web development track that I'm using. Say you want to learn web development, you have to do all of those things that I listed earlier, React, next, like just pursuing frameworks. You don't have to do that. So just learn the fundamentals, learn how the web works, right? Learn how the web works. If you visit a website, sending requests and all of those things, what's happening behind the scene. Try to understand how that works. And also learn the fundamentals of like the basic web technologies. So that's HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, right? So yeah, learn the fundamentals of HTML, learn the fundamentals of CSS, learn the fundamentals of JavaScript. So that way, say for example, you're using AI to write code, and the AI fucks up. I mean, we've had this experience multiple times, right? In our peer coding this thing. So we'll be writing code and the AI will be telling you that okay, this thing is correct, whereas the code is not working, like there are bugs everywhere. So, but because we have like that fundamental distance, we have the knowledge. We understand that okay, this is what's supposed to make this work. So we can trace it back to wherever it is that the bug is coming from. Like see somebody that does not have that fundamental knowledge now, you cannot go back and say, oh, this is you cannot trace back your steps in case say the AI fucks up. Sorry for using the F word. In case the AI mess up. Yeah. So fundamental, like the fundamental knowledge is still very important. So even if AI is going to write like all the codes in the future, it's still important that you learn the fundamentals. So yeah, maybe not chase fancy frameworks like I said earlier, but like fundamentals is very important still.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with you. I remember how when we're like learning to code, one regular thing they tell us is that once you've learned the basics of a particular programming language, it's easy for you to learn other
So
programming languages. So as long
exactly.
as you can pick one, but that's after you've learned like the basics of how the web works, HTML, CSS, like how it works, how it actually works, and even like you can touch up on understanding, okay, how after I've learned basic CSS, maybe how does CSS frameworks like Tailwind works because
Right.
you see it everywhere, and then you learn one programming language at least, like you learn, and from there you're able to like learn programming basics, like that's still fundamental, like programming basics through one programming language, like variable, data types, conditionals, loops, functions, scopes. Yeah, so it doesn't matter if it's Python, if it's JavaScript or something, because as a JavaScript developer today with AI, I can easily spin up a Python project, and I just need to like once I see a function, I know what a function is.
Exactly.
Once I see a loop, I know what a loop is. Once I see a condition, I know what a condition is. So like I think those are the fundamentals that you're trying to talk about, right?
Yeah. So there's also this analogy that my brother used to use, my senior brother, my elder brother. So he would say in the past, people would have to go to school. I mean, we studied computer science, right? So
Yeah.
like before our time, people would need to go to school to learn like how to operate a computer. Do you get? But in 2025, if you don't know how to operate a computer, you are an illiterate. Do you agree with that? Like regardless of if you're a computer scientist or not, you have to know, like, you have to understand how to operate a computer, right? So I think in the long run, the same would apply to, like, say, building stuff with AI. So say if you cannot build certain applications to some extent here with AI, you're an illiterate. I don't know. Do you get?
Uh,
I mean,
uh,
that's
uh,
pretty controversial, but yeah,
eh, uh, yeah, the whole aspect of using the computer, yeah, that one I buy to that one. But like you can actually, I think with the way things are going, like
interesting. You know,
everybody, yeah, the way it's going, like everybody can build, right? Everybody like
yeah,
can everybody can build. The thing I think that's where also like after you have learned the fundamentals, I think the next thing you need to build is like your problem solving skill,
skills.
your ability to discover a problem, and your ability to research around that problem. Now, after you have learned like the basics, you have learned you have learned web fundamentals, programming fundamentals, and you have tried building out things to get your hands dirty. Then you're now like approaching, okay, maybe we'll take it gradually. Like after I've learned the fundamentals, right? After I've learned
Mm,
how the web works, basic HTML, basic CSS,
yes,
programming
yes.
fundamentals, after I've learned programming fundamentals like all these loops, functions, scopes. I think another thing that is very important for you to learn is maybe data structures, like, or what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, to some extent, and I agree. Actually, I agree. So yeah, it's very important that you understand data structures. So talking about, you should
Uh,
try and understand the
Especially,
differences between, say, an array and an object, right? So, but yeah, to add to that point now, I would say just try and understand like how they work. So what I mean by that is, data structures now, for example, the type of data structures in JavaScript is kind of different from the ones you would find in, say, Java or C++ plus plus and some of these other languages. So when I say understand how they works, understand that okay. um, this data structure in Java, for example, is say similar to what an array is in JavaScript. So just yeah, understand like the whole concept of all of those basic data structures, array, objects, and hash maps. I don't know, right?
Yeah. Let me
See,
bring another
another question
context.
that
Okay, I wanted to
okay,
bring
sorry, go on.
a context. So, Ayanfe is learning, is doing vibe coding, and he's a UI/UX designer.
Designer, right?
Exactly. And then he falls, he gets some bugs, and then he like the bugs are to him is like the end of the world, right? I mean, why apparently it's just some npm things about like installing packages, but bro cannot debug. He doesn't even know what's going on, right? So like you see, that's like one very, very important. Like imagine, for example, you implement authentication, and he's so happy that the form is submitting. But meanwhile, I can just go to slash dashboard and, and
Like the authentication is not working, but like the form is submitting.
the form is submitting.
Crazy, crazy,
So
crazy.
like how I think that like all of those tied to like the whole fundamentals thing, like that
Yeah,
somebody already.
exactly, exactly. So say you
Yeah,
now, like you understand what NPM is, you understand authentication, authorization, all of those things. So like it's just easier for you to go and if the AI mess up, it's easier for you to trace back and fix things to get and make sure that the application is working.
yeah.
So I think
Remember
that's
what?
another great point, right? Um, say people that are like developers now, people that knows the fundamental, it's going to make them give them say some sort of superpowers, which you get. So the way a person that does not know how to write code before now would use AI is very different from like me that have like all those fundamental knowledge to use AI. Do you understand? So
Mm,
as fundamental is very, very important. Like very
yeah,
important. You're going to say
yeah.
something.
Yeah, like there was a day where, like I think we're talking about how the um what AI is bringing to the whole game is not you having to like write everything from scratch, but your ability to actually read code and understand code. Like that's what sets people apart, right? I can see this bug, and if AI explains to me, I know what's going on. Or if I read the code, like I know what's going on, and I can explain to AI what I want. Like you understand? I can be able to tell it that your loop, like it can make some very expensive loops that
Mistakes.
I know that this can be very like detrimental, you understand, and I can easily like figure it out. But and it avoids unnecessary complications, and AI trying to manipulate its way, and then you can be able to call it to order and be like, oh boy.
Exactly, exactly. So see, I think sometimes last year, or last 2 years, right, when the whole vibe coding something started raining. So there was this guy on Twitter, I've forgotten his name now. So he was trying to like vibe code a course, a platform where you can sell course. You get like sell tutorials now. And yeah, everything worked, right? But like people can hey, just like it was very similar to the and your fake case that you were sharing, that the form was submitting to get. So, like in his own case now, the form to like pay for the course was submitting, but you could just easily go to the dashboard. Like there was no form of authentication happening. The form was submitting, yes, but also you can go to the dashboard and just download the course for free. So you get. So somebody that is not a developer now, they are just going to make those sort of expensive mistakes that you're talking about. So
Yeah. Yeah, so
fundamental
I
is
think
very
we can now go back to the whole like fundamentals is key as a beginner trying to like learn how to code in 2026, right? But let's even answer the question, like should you still learn to code? Like should you still learn to code?
yes,
Okay, so you should still learn to code, and like how you learn to code is first starting with like how the web works and the whole fundamental thing, right? Now, after you have learned
mhm,
all of that, like how do you scale? Remember, then we'll be like, oh, build projects, you get your hands dirty. That's how like you learn, like build plenty projects, just be building, be building. Like, okay, now with this AI times, like what do you advise?
Hmm, okay. So see, the way things has been moving recently, nobody can predict what will happen tomorrow. OpenAI or Gemini now, or Google can release like a model that will just change and transform the world, right? But also, okay, say even learning code for the sake of building application. So one other thing that I know is, um, if you learn to like if you do learn to code, it's going to, how would I put this? Yeah, it will make your problem solving skills better. To get, so say in the future, you did not even get to apply all those coding things that you are learning, all those HTML, CSS. You did not get to apply it to build like a project because AI is taking over and they are building everything, right? But like it's going to like train up your problem solving skills to get that you be able to apply to some other areas in in your life. So yeah, should you still learn to code? I mean, yes, why not? Hmm?
Yeah, yeah, I think so. So yeah, so I think you should learn how to code. But I think you missed the question. I think the question I was asking is after you have learned how to code, I was saying like the whole project building. Like how do you approach it now that AI is like that we have AI? After I've learned the fundamentals, how do I, because the fundamentals is not like the real experience comes from building, right? Okay, now that I've learned the fundamentals, should I just go to AI and like, do you understand? I start building, like, what kind of projects do I build to cement my understanding, and like how do I move on? Like, you understand, to get the next job and all of those things.
That's an interesting question.
Like that they put you on the spot.
Right, Carl, that's an interesting question. Um, okay. So yeah, I would say even in the AI age, right? If you are learning to code, so there are some, say when we were learning to code now, there were some projects that we cannot just escape building. Say for example, we had to build like a to-do application to get, and which other example? But yeah, we have to be like all of those basic projects so that we can just understand certain concepts better. So I feel like, yeah, in this present age, like it's still, those type of stuff are still very important, right? Here, take for example, you're learning back end development, right? So you need to master stuff like CRUD, right? Authentication. So you need to learn how to create data and do those interaction with the database, updates, deletes, like basic CRUD, basic authentication. So you cannot escape building some certain fundamental projects. Like I said to do app, like say you're just starting out, and say building a project where user have to log into the app, retrieve their data, delete, do some basic database interaction. Yeah. So yeah, it's we all understand that you can just go to AI and let AI write all those codes for you. Yeah. But yeah, we are talking about fundamental knowledge here. So to gain that fundamental knowledge, we have to build this type of projects too.
Yeah. I think like at the beginning time, like when you just finish learning the fundamentals, it's good to like still like scratch your brain and try and like see how basic things work. I remember then would like build things like all those accordion stuffs, just to understand like all those maths behind those things. Even the
Right.
carousels, like I think it's still good to like juggle your brain a little bit. Then after that, then you can now start, and even when you even start playing around with I think you should not just give everything to AI. I think that's like the whole problem, the whole idea of coding blindly. You are just prompting, bro, fix this bug, fix it now. Like I and
Enter
like
deep.
like you don't even start insulting, like just fix the bug, find the bug and fix it. Like you don't even know what the bug is, but you're like telling it find the bug and
Look for
fix
the
it.
ball.
But like after you have been like when you're able to like learn all this, like you have juggled your brain a little bit, like you have familiarized yourself with what errors even look like, you understand? Now when you see those errors, you are specific, you're able to like tell AI like there is a multiple loop, or like there is like you understand, you're able to like tell it,
Right.
or so
Look
you're not.
at this line. You're doing this wrong. All of those things.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, I think we're literally like, and then I think the overall thing, like with AI, you really need to learn. I think that's where context comes in. Like, not just like you're giving, you're not just writing basic prompts, but you're giving AI
Hmm.
context. Yeah. So
Yeah.
now I think the next thing I'm going to say is, okay, we have learned, we have seen like, okay, understand how the web works, understand fundamentals, like build something basic to juggle your brain, and then like you can now start playing around with AI, but not just playing blindly, but like
Let's see.
reading and understand. Yeah, exactly. So now after you have done all of that, like what next?
How do you mean what next?
Like, am I qualified to go and start applying for jobs? Because like now, remember we were saying that with AI coming in, many jobs are now like sort of under
I mean,
attack. Like
it's happening already. It's
exactly,
happening already, right?
I don't just see those junior roles that just want me to write HTML any longer.
It's a bit of a sticky one.
Yeah, so like
But the
how do
crazy
I
thing is, okay, well, ask you a question. Let me get a question.
like how do I get into like the first job like now? Like now.
Ah, pray, man,
Shey dey
pray.
whine me.
That's all they. Because see, like even seniors are losing their jobs now. Like it's so crazy. Yeah, what I was going to say earlier is the crazy thing is nobody can say for sure that okay, this is what's going to happen like tomorrow with the way technology is moving. So it has gotten to the point where it's not only developers that would lose their jobs. You get it's not only developers that would lose their jobs. So see, Claude Anthropic now, they've been working on some type of tools recently that would make roles like project management, you get, and even marketing to some extent obsolete, like say in the next 5 6 years or so. So nobody can say for sure that oh, this is all what's going to happen. And yeah, also the job market has been fogged. Sorry for using the F word again. The job market has been really messed up. So it's just so crazy. The world is not fair on us. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, opportunities are still out there. Opportunities are still. If somebody is dropping some W's in the chat, talking about the needs to move to learning the code with AI and both of them. Yeah, the future is bloody. The opportunities are still out there. I would not want to make say crazy predictions, but we might get to the point that say roles like junior developers would become like totally obsolete. To get that nobody would want to hire a junior developer, like take a chance on a junior developer at all, right? But yeah,
Yeah.
God help us all. Somebody dropped the comments. Learn in public should be the next. Share like your life depend on it. I agree. Like that's very
Like
important.
this is very valid actually. Like as you are learning, as you are after you've learned those basics and you have started building things, like I think bro, like the what you should be pumping out your like whatever you are learning, because
Right.
visibility, there's one thing that my pastor like, visibility provokes favor. What they like, you have to
Hey,
actually be you actually have to be very very visible and like putting out your work, because now many people know what you know, and like many people like what you think you know, and you think you're like god in your village, like I'm that person, I'm that 16-year-old already like knows it, like. And what I noticed that the job market is doing now is like there's like this combination of roles. Like you'll not just see, you see some people instead of saying
mm,
front end engineer, they are saying growth engineer. So they need a front end guy that understands metrics and can channel whatever he's doing towards growth. Previously, maybe there would have been three people doing that thing. There would have been maybe a growth marketer, a front end developer, and then three of them would have been doing meeting. And then like I'm trying to like see, but like now they know that the front end guy
one person.
can easily spin up things. So now what we want is somebody that can read the data and can run A/B tests, that can track it. Is this thing performing well? Retract, try another approach, and like now, and they are ready to pay better. Like, you understand? So I think as you are learning, you need to like really diversify, learn more things. Like, don't just be so channeled that, oh, this is, because it's even easier to learn nowadays. So after you have learned the fundamentals fast, though, not like you learn the fundamentals fast, you get yourself to building like fast. And you're not just building anyhow, you're trying to understand what you are building. And you're putting it out there, like Terry says, like you're putting it out there. And like, yeah, do you have anything to like?
To add to that, well, you've said it all, right? So I'll just say be dynamic in your planning. So, like you said, um, don't say, okay, this is the way and this is the only way that I'm going to follow through. Like be dynamic. Learn to be learnable. That's how they say it, right? Be learnable. And yeah, like Terry said, share in public, like learn in public, very important. I feel like that was one thing that helped us, right? Like our sets when we were just starting out. Say we learn how to center a div today. We go to platforms like Ashnode or Dev.to and write articles about it. And all of those things give us some type of clout, right? To
Yeah,
get followers, people praising us that, oh, I found your article and it was very nice, right? So yeah, learning in public is very important. And as you are learning, be very dynamic, like be open to new ideas.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think those are like things we would touch up on in like our next streams. Like we'll go
Yeah.
into details on like things like that you should, like how you should diversify as you're learning the basics. Like what are those things that you should actually, that would help you in the job market? You understand? Yeah. Anyways, we've been here for like 27 minutes. We just said we should try things out. Like we've not streamed on LinkedIn before. We've not
27
like,
minutes.
yeah. So like we're just trying things out, and we just said let's talk about like the whole AI thing. But like there's still way more to talk about, and I think when we structure these things out, like we have more things to talk about. Like, do you have any other final thing to say before we like close up?
Nah. Okay. Yeah. Stay hungry, stay foolish. That's a quote from Steve Jobs.
Yeah, and
Also,
like
yeah,
that.
follow guys. Like and follow and subscribe and yeah, follow us everywhere. Please, very important.
Yeah. And the last thing I will even say was that article you talked about in our last stream. Like, don't lose your brain with AI. Still don't lose your brain. Use your brain once in a while. Like, yeah.
Very
Anyway,
important. Don't
and
outsource your thinking to AI. Use your
yeah,
brain.
yeah, yeah. Anyways, that will be all for today. Thank you all for joining. A big shout out to you, Terry. Big shout out to you, Jacob, Isa, and every other person that joined. There was a time the stream was like at 6. It's crazy. Anyways,
Six people was watching.
yeah, funny enough.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
So we'll get to the point where 20K people will be watching streaming live.
as it
So
should
happen.
be.
All right now.
Anyway, yeah, bye.
Bye guys.